I'll be honest, the first thing I did when the invasion started was order a pizza. It wasn't my proudest moment, but in my defense, the so-called alien armada had spent the last 40 minutes hovering over Earth like a confused delivery driver circling the block. And I figured if I was about to be vaporized by space monsters, I'd rather do it with a pepperoni slice in my hand. Of course, things didn't exactly go the way anyone expected. The news anchors were losing their minds. Every channel was broadcasting the same shaky footage of massive, angular ships hanging over major cities like a cosmic prank. Governments were in full-on panic mode, and social media was a disaster. Half the posts were conspiracy theories about the aliens being some kind of weird insurance scam, and the other half were memes comparing them to parking enforcement officers. Then came the first transmission. A booming voice, deep and theatrical, echoed across every frequency, every screen, every speaker. Humans of Earth, we are the Zer Dominion. We have come to claim your world. Surrender, and we shall grant you a swift assimilation. Assimilation. That sounded uncomfortable. But what really threw me off was the response. See, you'd expect the world to react with terror, with chaos, maybe some futile attempts at diplomacy. Instead, we got absolute silence for about 3 seconds before some guy, some ordinary, probably in his 30s guy, replied over an open channel. What's in it for us? A pause, then the Zer leader's voice returned, slightly confused. You will be made part of the Zer Dominion. Right, but do we get benefits? Dental, health insurance, PTO? I swear, to this day, you could hear the alien's brain short-circuiting through the speakers. You will have no need for such things. You will serve the Dominion. But will there be pizza? At this point, I was actually laughing. So was half the world. It was surreal. The news broadcasts were showing government officials looking completely baffled. Even the emergency response team seemed to have hit the brakes, listening to this absolute legend of a man negotiate Earth's surrender like he was trying to upgrade his phone plan. The Zer commander, who I later learned was some high-ranking warlord named Cole, cleared his throat and tried again. You do not understand. This is not a discussion. You will... Okay, I get it. Big scary empire, very intimidating. But listen, my dude, we've kind of got a lot going on down here already. Wars, economic crises, reality TV shows. Do you guys really want to deal with all of that? 'Cause I'll be real with you, man. We're kind of a mess. Now, I wasn't an expert on alien psychology, but I knew what frustration sounded like, and Cole was definitely getting frustrated. We will impose order upon your chaotic civilization. You will become one with the Dominion. A different voice cut in this time, some guy with a thick accent. How much is rent under your rule? Silence. Then a third voice. Do we still have to file taxes? More silence. Then another. Hey, do you guys have fast food, or do we have to cook everything ourselves? The entire planet had somehow miraculously transformed an apocalyptic event into a customer service nightmare for an intergalactic warlord. Cole tried to regain control. This is not up for debate. Surrender, or we will demonstrate our power upon your world. The first guy, the hero of the people, responded immediately. Define demonstrate, though. Is it a fireworks show? Because that actually sounds kinda cool. At that moment, I swear I heard what sounded like an alien groaning in frustration. We will destroy a target of our choosing as a warning. See, that just sounds like vandalism. Pretty sure that's illegal here. This is your final warning, humans. And then, before anyone could respond, the Zer actually did something. One of their ships fired a beam straight into the ocean, creating a massive, boiling crater in the Pacific. A dramatic show of force, terrifying, awe-inspiring, except for one tiny, insignificant detail. It missed everything. Seriously. The ocean? That was their big power move. Naturally, humanity reacted as expected. Laughter, actual, honest laughter. Even I was wheezing in my apartment, my pizza forgotten. The internet exploded with jokes. Nice shot, guys. You really showed that water who's boss. Breaking news. Fish declare surrender. Humans still considering terms. Bro, at least hit a parking lot or something. The Xer command must have realized how bad it looked, because a few minutes later, X-Col came back, voice tight with anger. You dare mock us? Well, yeah. What else are we supposed to do? We will not be taken lightly. Then maybe aim for something besides open water next time. There was an actual, real, genuine pause, as if an entire war council was sitting around a table, staring at their screens, wondering where their invasion went wrong. The thing is, humanity wasn't scared. We had already lived through too much nonsense. The world had seen wars, economic disasters, pandemics, reality TV, and the baffling enigma that was pineapple on pizza, some space warlord showing up and yelling at us from the sky. That barely cracked the top 10 weirdest things to happen that year. And then, before the Xer could regain their momentum, someone in Australia made it worse. They aimed a laser pointer at one of the ships. Apparently, the Xer had never dealt with that before, because the broadcast cut off as one of their vessels frantically repositioned itself, trying to dodge a tiny red dot. This war wasn't just over. It had turned into the funniest disaster in intergalactic history. And the best part? The guy who started it all? He wasn't done yet. It was around the time someone launched a drone, carrying a speaker blasting yakety sax at the Xer mothership. That was the moment I realized the invasion had officially lost all credibility. The original hero, the man whose voice had single-handedly derailed an entire planetary conquest, was back on the open frequency, completely unbothered. Okay, so let's go over this again. You guys want us to surrender, join your big evil space empire, and what? Just go about our daily lives under your rule. X-Col sounded done. You will obey the Dominion's will, and right. But, how exactly are you planning to enforce that? The silence stretched just a little too long. It was subtle, but you could hear the struggle. The Xer were used to fear, to planetary governments rolling over, their leaders pleading for mercy. What they weren't used to was the sheer, unrelenting human talent for making any situation awkward. Your kind will not resist once we display our superior force. See, that's the thing, the guy continued. I don't think you really get what you're dealing with here. X-Col, clearly trying to regain the intimidation factor, ignored the jab. We have firepower beyond your comprehension. Yeah, then why'd you shoot the ocean? A different voice jumped in. Hey, speaking of that, was that your best shot? 'Cause if so, we might need to have a talk about your weaponry. Maybe get you guys some aiming lessons. A third voice laughing. Dude, they literally invented stormtrooper aim, but for planet invasions. I swear I could hear X-Col's blood pressure rising. Enough of this nonsense. We will select a new target, one that will demonstrate our true might. The world braced for impact, or, well, mostly braced. A lot of people were still too busy memeing the first shot to take the threat seriously. But a few governments at least were scrambling behind the scenes, trying to calculate where the next attack might land. X-Col's voice returned, filled with self-assured menace. Behold, as we strike a monument of your civilization, a display of your culture and history. And then, in real time, all over the world, the Xer fired again. This time, they hit a theme park. To be specific, they vaporized a defunct, long-abandoned amusement park in Ohio that had been falling apart for decades. The second the footage hit the internet, it was over. Somewhere in a Xer war room, I imagine a dozen alien officers were staring at the wreckage of a half-collapsed roller coaster, realizing just how badly they'd miscalculated. "Congratulations," someone on the open channel said. "You just saved us millions in demolition costs." A different voice, barely holding back laughter. "Man, I was really hoping you'd hit a DMV instead." Another, deadpan. "How will we ever recover from the loss of Funland USA?" The chat exploded with people suggesting new, "Hey Zer guys, there's this really annoying toll road near my house. Any chance you could help us out? Ooh, try Congress next. Do us all a favour. There's a stadium with terrible traffic management. You should check it out." I had to put my phone down because I was laughing too hard. At this point, there was no way to take the invasion seriously. The Zer had shown up expecting a grand conquest, and instead they had somehow let humanity turn the whole thing into an intergalactic roast session. And then came the real breaking point. Someone, I don't know who, but I will forever consider them a legend, hacked into the Zer video feed and overlaid their battle map with a blinking red message. Critical hit. Bonus points awarded. That was it. That was the moment the war became a complete joke, because the Zer noticed. What? What is this? Excol's voice had lost all of its menace. "Congratulations," the hacker said in the smuggest voice possible. "You have successfully destroyed one structurally unsound relic of human civilization." Points awarded 10 inches. The world erupted. The internet was in shambles. Within minutes, there was a leaderboard ranking the Zer invasion progress, complete with a score system. The moment it was posted, people started submitting challenges. "Hit my apartment next. My landlord sucks. 15 points if you take out a parking garage. A full 100 if you can actually land troops and not trip over our infrastructure." It was beautiful. Excol, on the other hand, was not amused. "You humans, you are mocking us." "Yeah, man," the original hero said. "That's kind of what we do." Another voice chimed in. "You really should have researched literally anything about us before trying this." And then, as if the universe itself was conspiring against the Zer, one final event sealed their fate. A group of students in Japan had set up a giant projector aimed at the Zer flagship, and on that projector, for every alien on board to see, they displayed a giant flashing message. Game over. Insert coins to continue. I wish I could have seen Excol's face, because at that moment the Zer commander realized something critical. They weren't conquering Earth. Earth was bullying them, and we weren't stopping any time soon. Excol must have been rethinking his entire career at this point, maybe even his life choices. You don't spend decades climbing the ranks of a fearsome galactic empire just to get publicly humiliated by a planet that thought laser pointers and internet memes were viable war tactics. But he wasn't giving up yet. You cannot be serious," he growled over the open channel. "You truly believe your defiance will go unpunished?" The original hero, by now the undisputed spokesperson of Earth's comedic resistance, answered immediately. "Oh no, we know we're getting punished. We're just making sure you suffer through it too." Laughter exploded across the airwaves. Excol's patience had run out. "Enough! We are deploying ground forces. You will learn the price of your mockery firsthand." Now this was interesting. The Zer had finally decided to send actual troops. That was a bold move, considering they had already lost the psychological battle so thoroughly that even school children were mocking them in real time. Within minutes, ships descended in formation, landing in major cities. People braced themselves, not in fear, but in anticipation. We had spent hours turning the Zer into the biggest joke in the galaxy. Now we finally had the chance to take things to the next level, and Earth delivered. The first deployment in New York went exactly as expected. The Zer shock troopers, clad in imposing battle armour, marched onto the streets, weapons ready, only to be immediately greeted by a full flash mob of people dancing to "Never Gonna Give You Up." I don't know if the Zer had the equivalent of human ears, but I do know that their communications officers were probably losing their minds listening to Rick Astley blasting through their speakers. Meanwhile, in London, the invading forces were met by a group of men in business suits offering them official invasion paperwork. Nobody was sure where the forms came from, but they were ridiculously detailed. There were sections for land acquisition, conquest insurance, and even conqueror liability waivers. The Tsar, completely baffled, actually stopped to try and fill them out. In Australia, the first squad of Tsar troopers stepped out of their dropship, weapons raised, only to immediately be chased back inside by an aggressive kangaroo. And in Florida, Florida was ready. The second the Tsar landed, they were met by a guy in sunglasses holding an alligator like a weapon. "You fellas lost?" he asked, grinning, "'cause I don't think you'll want to be here." The Tsar retreated. Everywhere else it was more of the same: confusion, chaos, sheer unrelenting nonsense. Someone got an entire marching band to play the Imperial March as the Tsar paraded through a city. Another group set up an alien welcome booth offering coupons for fast food, and one absolute legend somehow managed to sneak onto a Tsar ship and leave a handwritten note on their control panel that just said, "Nice try." It was beautiful. Excol tried to salvage the situation. He really did. But at this point, there was no controlling the invasion. His troops weren't fighting. They were lost. "Commander," a Tsar officer shouted over their encrypted channel, though thanks to human hackers, the whole planet could hear it. "We have been offered free coffee," another panicked voice. "One of my men was just invited to a barbecue." Excol roared in frustration. "Have you captured any cities?" A long silence. Then quietly, someone answered. "No, sir. We lost a few troops to a poker game." I was crying. The entire world was in hysterics. This wasn't just an invasion anymore, this was entertainment. And then, in a moment that will forever be remembered in Earth's history, a new voice entered the open frequency. It was calm, stern, official. It was NASA. "Attention, Tsar Dominion. This is the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. We have taken control of one of your ships." Silence. Absolute, complete silence. Then Excol spoke, voice tight. "What?" NASA continued. "You failed to encrypt your landing protocols. We simply walked in." I checked my phone. Social media was melting down. A picture was already circulating, clear as day, of 3 guys in NASA hoodies standing inside what was very obviously a Zillar control room, taking selfies with confused alien crew members. How?" Excol sputtered. NASA ignored him. "We are prepared to negotiate the terms of your surrender." The entire world erupted. A Zillar surrender. After everything. After the memes, the laser pointers, the dancing, the bureaucratic traps, the kangaroos. Excol, to his credit, tried to hold on to his last scrap of dignity. "We will never—" Another voice cut in, panicked. "Commander, please. I don't even know where half our soldiers are. Some of them have gone native. One of them just sent me a message saying he's considering becoming a professional skateboarder." Excol let out a long, suffering sigh. Then, in the most defeated voice I have ever heard, he muttered, "We will discuss terms." And just like that, humanity won the most embarrassing alien war in history. The Zillar officially retreated within 24 hours, not because they were outgunned, not because they were overwhelmed, but because they simply could not handle us. Their official statement was incredible. The Dominion recognizes that Earth is not worth the effort. To this day, people wear that quote on T-shirts. And Excol? Well, rumour has it he resigned shortly after the retreat. Whether that was voluntary or strongly suggested, nobody knows. But as for us, we partied, we celebrated. And somewhere, deep in the cosmos, the Zillar Dominion marked a single, unbreakable law into their records. Do not invade Earth, ever.